This is the TTC Heart or Honey switch, and these are without a doubt the worst budget switches I have ever tried out. And that doesn't mean, oh, it's cheap, but it's like, it sucks, don't waste your money on it. I mean, I spent 85 cents on these per switch. Normally these are over $1, and I regret every single penny of it. And I'll explain why. What justifies this steep price tag is what TTC calls its Lego style of assembly. As you can see, the stem is split into two parts, this opaque part that actually has the rails that contact the lower housing, as well as this top part that holds the keycap. And this is also on the bottom part. So you can see the center pole where the stem goes into is of a different material than the rest of the lower housing. And TTC claims that each of these different parts that I just pointed out to you will be modular, so you can swap them out with different colors, different types of plastic, whatever, to create your perfect switch. Now, I have a couple of problems with that, and I'll start off by explaining these clasps, how to open the switch. Now, that's going to be the first step if you want to mod it, right? Opening the switch. These do not work with MX style switch openers. The only thing that I've found that works is using my fingernails. Now, this is fine for maybe one switch, two switches, but I can't imagine doing this for 100 switches or even more. It's going to be hell on your thumbs. All right, there we go. Now I've disassembled my switch, and let's start from the top. As you can see, and as you've probably guessed already, these switches, because of their unique assembly, are completely incompatible with other styles of MX switches. So that means that in order to get your perfect switch from this modularity, you're going to have to purchase a lot of TTC switches. And as we've already covered, they aren't cheap at all. They currently, I believe, have two other switches with this Lego type of modularity, a recolor of these hearts called the Titan or the Giant Heart, and also another type of switch called the Tiger switch. Now, right now, that's not a lot of options. I'm not sure what TTC's plans are in the future for manufacturing different switches or just selling these different components by themselves, but I can't believe that it would be good for your wallet. Moving on to the stem, and honestly, the stem and bottom housing have many of the same issues, so I'm just going to cover the stem and also give a quick overview of how those same issues show up in the lower housing. So first off, these two, I can't remove them. I don't get it. I'm trying to wrench it off, I'm trying to twist it off, nothing goes, and I can't find anything online as to how to get these off. It's great that they're very securely attached, I expect that, but this is a little too secure for how modular it's supposed to be. And also, I noticed a little bit of lube on here. It's a little bit hard to see, but it's definitely there. Now the issue is that the lube only covers one side of the railing. This is really strange. If you lube a switch, you expect the lube to be all over this rail in order to cushion every part that can be impacting against the lower housing. It's not like that on the switch. It's just this one edge, and if you look on the lower housing, not only is it also really difficult to remove this middle opaque part, but you can also see that the lube is only on one edge. What is this? What is this lubing? You can see it's just on here, and it's just on there. Now that's not a good lube job. And the spring is a spring. 42 grams to actuation, so pretty light. Gold plated, I'm assuming. It's lubed at one end where it contacted the lower housing, unlubed at the other end. It does its job. I appreciate that. Now, I've put the switch back together and I've already shown you all the internals, but how does it feel? How does it sound? Well, one word, inconsistent. So here's the switch that I was talking about, that I was disassembling. Not too shoddy. And here is a switch that I just pulled out of the pile. Both of these are completely stock. I've done nothing but open them up and look at them. This one has so much more scratch than this one. They're both stock. I've honestly never experienced another switch, especially above the 50 cents per switch line, with this amount of inconsistency and factory lubing. This is absolutely ridiculous. Now, this inconsistency is probably the result of this really poor lubing job, because some of the switches will inevitably have slightly better contact of the plastic, lube, and then plastic, and some other ones will not. Will just have this plastic on plastic scratching action. So it's very inconsistent, and I believe it would mostly be fixed with a good coat of factory lube. Now, talk's talk and bare switches are bare switches, but how does this sound in a keyboard? Now, first things first, if you're buying these for aesthetic reasons, just know that these are designed to work with south-facing boards. That means that whatever design you put in here will be upside down. Secondly, now let's put this keycap on. Let's hear the board. It honestly doesn't sound that bad, which is perhaps the most mind-blowing part of this. It's got a very nice deep sound profile. Some people call it dark. I prefer using a little more descriptive words, but it's very deep. It's got that sort of uniqueness, but then if you slow down and you really listen to it, that scratch just comes back in full force. So if you really like this sound profile and you're not concerned with the modularity or concerned with the price tag, go ahead, get these switches, pry them open with your fingers, lube them up, slap them into a board. I'm not going to stop you, but just know that with everything that I've talked about, I would not recommend these switches. I cannot, in good faith, recommend these switches. And as a final parting gift, I will show you how to get these switches out of the plate. Here's my normal switch remover. That was fight. And here's why. This is a normal Gatoron white switch, and you can see the upper and lower edge have these edges and then a space in the middle and then these two ledges. Now these two clips can be pushed in, and in doing so that releases the plate from these little ledges. They're going down slightly, and that allows the switch to be removed from the plate without much hassle. On these heart switches, they've chosen to block off that middle space altogether. So you still have these edges and you still have this clip that goes up and down, but now you have two extra little plastic pieces. And what that does, this is a very standard switch remover that I got off Amazon. What that does is block this because it's just so wide. It's not going to be able to get in there easily. It's not going to be able to depress the clip easily. And these ledges are not going to go down easily. What you're left to do is just grab onto it as tight as you can and just wrestle it out of the plate. It's going to damage the switch. It's going to damage the plate. Do not use this in any hot swap build. TTC, please do better. Now, if that was a bummer, which it definitely was, stay tuned. I might be putting out some more typing tests with these heart switches. I'll be looking to review some more switches that I recently picked up, and hopefully they'll be less of a disappointment than these have been. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.